multiple videos and photographs in regards to this evidence. Apparently, strange occurrence. Apparently, u/Cole_Quizto posted on Reddit named Strange Occurrence. He says this: "Hello, Reddit community. I made this account just to share this event and decided to share this on the mystery thread as I don't know where else to post." He says his name is Quizto and he lives in a small village near Berlin. To make a long story short, he says he found a USB stick in a parking lot near the so-called Stentor a few hours ago. He didn't think much of it and put it in his pocket. He says there's nothing else in the parking lot, just this.
So Fred, this is the only way I could think of getting the video
he
on.
Says it had a strange symbol carved onto it. Later that day, he put it into his laptop, but he says the interesting part is when he came up among the unnamed files, and there were quite many images and videos of what seems to be like planets, space-related stuff, and they seem old from the 1900s. The videos kind of shock me, he says, as somehow they show to them of what seems to be alien UFOs, and he's watched a lot of sci-fi movies to know what they look like, he says. He says he doesn't know the story behind this USB stick and what it possesses, but he decided to share it with us. Some images seem to show...
Why would they block it out if it's fake?
Some seem to be edited, blacked out. They're videos that are too freaky to describe, he says. And he says a friend said that the stick contains old Voyager satellite recordings and files that are not supposed to be public, as he has never seen something like this. He says a friend of his is a space dude and he should know what he's looking at. I'll look more into the files, he says, and keep us updated once he figures out how to upload the more images he has on this
USB drive,
and we're going to be sharing it with you. Apparently,
look at this.
8,000 images and video in this USB stick, so I can imagine it's going to take a while to get this all uploaded, but right now we're going to be sharing with you on Third Phase of Moon some of the images that have come in. So let's get started with this video called Close Up Jupiter.
Watch the bottom right-hand corner.
The first video that we're looking at apparently is Jupiter in the background, and to me, I think this is the moon known as Europa hovering over the planet Jupiter. Brent, what's your thoughts here?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. If these were Voyager shots, that would be interesting when Voyager did fly by Jupiter at that moment. Could this be what we're looking at? It's hard telling. This could be all done in CGI and Photoshop, but
they're right, it could be, but the problem is,
coming up. What is that at the bottom part of the moon?
Yeah, look at that.
Why are the powers that be trying to keep it offline?
Behind the moon Europa, what is that? It's very strange. We're getting a closer look. The detail in these videos is what kind of gets me thinking that these possibly could be legitimate videos, because the evidence
around the time of Voyager, which is, I don't know, 1950s, 1940s.
Tens of maybe thousands of hours to maybe create this massive hoax, if that's what it is. But right now we're just going to go over the images. Let's roll the second clip. This one's called Earth. You know, I've seen worse images coming in from NASA themselves. Absolutely. They're shooting on potatoes, and you're looking at this, and definitely it compares to some of the NASA imagery from the 1980s. It's interesting that you see the ship kind of in orbit over Earth. Yeah, it looks like some sort of satellite.
What I've been doing is going into my Adobe After Effects, and seeing, like, if you guys can see the glitches and all that blinking, see if Adobe After Effects has that same procedure. This one is called Moon Rescue.
Okay, you know, that looks a little suspicious. Almost looks like there's some CGI added.
But that kind of glare would look like that on a camera of that time.
Rescue pods. So,
oh, it's called Rescue Pods. Not sure what it's all about.
Apparently, there's not any information behind it except the name of the video itself. And I'm not sure if the person that uploaded it named it, or is this the information on the USB title itself.
Yeah, it's an interesting clip. I do like that the flares coming off of whatever this is seems to have more of a reflection than your normal res flare that you put on through a CGI effect.
Yeah, it doesn't come up with the simple lens flare attachment. It is an original looking flare, and then again, that would be even more complicated in order to pull this off as a hoax. But again, it could be legitimate. Let's roll with this.
It could be done in After Effects, but it's just a lot of work. Look at this.
Right, so again, that's I think the moon Europa and Jupiter behind it, but we're getting a little bit of color in this.
Now just think of how big that ship is. You can see it.
And there's some kind of obtrusion to the lower.
Going behind Europa like that.
Of the moon.
Yeah, look at that, the bottom left. Whatever it is, if that's in proximation next to this moon, that thing would be massive.
And right before the video actually starts, you'll see those numbers flashing.
These videos and some of them.
That could be the reason behind the.
This one's called Attack on I.O.
The block, because oh, look at this.
Very peculiar video here. What are we looking at? Is this some kind of extraterrestrial attack on a ship or the moon of Europa? Is that the moon or is that a ship? Brent, what's your thought?
I see those top positions of left and right. They're massive ships, I think, accordance to the moon right there. And it looks like there's almost a space war going on above Jupiter. It's pretty compelling footage. The detail from Jupiter and the moon and zooming in through the cockpit of whatever spaceship they're in.
Look at the glass. How dirty it is.
It's pretty cool. It's very well done if it is a hoax.
Yeah, and the detail is very impressive. You see the streaks of particles, maybe ice particles streaking across the camera, as you'd see ice particles detach from rockets as they enter space. The detail behind this, there's so many elements that are involved here. If this were a hoax, it is incredible how they pulled it off. Because the information, there's so much of it. Let's get to this next clip, and it's called Distant Lights. And again, we're getting these
it's the only thing I could think of.
Refractions, flares that are very original, in my opinion.
I would have known by now.
The smudges from within the ship
Oh,
itself,
shit.
as the camera is shooting out through a glass. And again, that's
Look at the corner right there.
I just imagine
When those flash, look at that.
Voyager on its travels. It would be very compelling, and you would almost imagine this if we were living in the world that we like to believe, that there is some sort of alien presence in our solar system. Why wouldn't we be seeing glimpses of extraterrestrial craft around our large planets?
Okay, let's get to this. Saturn anomalies. The next video. Here it is. You see the rings of Saturn and flashes of light. The title, again, was Saturn Anomalies, and you can see all kinds of things going on in here. It's hard to point to one individual event going on in this. There's anomalies all over it.
Notice the top half of Saturn here. There seems to be something illuminating that's massive, some sort of, what would you dare call a mothership?
Again, we're not claiming that these are authentic. We're just putting out the evidence that's come out within the past 24 hours. Here's another one.
We read what they wrote.
This one caught my eye as well.
And they said YouTube threatened them, not no government agency.
Straight out of Star Wars, the Star Destroyer down below, taking incoming fire from another possible rebel ship. What's your thoughts? Is this legit or what?
Yeah, it's almost looking more like something that was done at Lucasfilms back in the early 70s and trying to create maybe a style of film and look. Almost has a Flash Gordon look, too, from the 1930s and 40s. It's very curious, the look that they're trying to replicate here. But it does have a sense of realism. That's what I find pretty fascinating about these clips that we're looking at right now.
Okay, let's get to this one. It's called Attack I.O. It's a closer look. Here it is. So we have another angle of the apparent attack on the ship, and there are multiple ships in orbit above Jupiter, and definitely it looks like some kind of confrontation, a star battle.
I wonder why these clips are so short. Was it a problem for the artist? I'm going to say is for a rendering problem. They wanted to create these little shorts.
Yeah, really, the videos don't last much longer than maybe 6 to 10 seconds max, and that does make one wonder why they're just these short clips versus let's just see.
That's true. It could all be fake.
Clip that lasts for a couple minutes of this battle, or maybe it's easier if it were a hoax for the renderer to concentrate on a 6-second video versus a 6-minute video.
Absolutely.
Let's get to this next one. It's called The Real Jupiter. You know, there's, again, a lot of elements going on in this video. I would say what we're looking at possibly could be real. Like I said, I've seen worse footage from NASA.
This is true. There's been worse footage from NASA.
Coming in and
so,
we're showing it to you right now.
Why are they only 6 seconds long?
We're not gonna be able
if
to
it's nothing but a picture of a... Oh, okay, wait a minute. I didn't catch that in the beginning.
Come in. Let's get to this first one. There's really no titles on any of these photographs, so we really can't say exactly what they're referenced to, but to me it looks like a big space station, maybe possibly the moon behind it.
Yeah, solar panels of some sort of station, or possibly just a Voyager's wings and its solar power that moves it along through space.
Here's a second photo, and again, not much reference, but this looks like almost a night vision photograph, and it almost looks like the Death Star.
Yeah.
Again, though, there's no deception that I'm seeing in these photos particularly. They look very authentic to me. Again, more small moons coming in from Saturn or Jupiter. Not exactly sure. Let's get to the next photo. Okay, some of the photos that have come in.
Now this is what I don't understand. Why are they blocking images out?
Planet Mars, if I'm not mistaken, but
now I'm thinking something differently because Mars wouldn't have that look of.
Could they have been trying to block the images
another moon or
and then
behind? I think what we're looking at is maybe.
Could they have been trying to, in the process of editing the images out and not finished when the flash drive was lost?
Hiding what possibly could be on this mountainside or the mountain top are definitely a NASA tactic, not to show you exactly what's going on.
Something's being redacted in these pictures right now. Why would they be trying to hide it after they've already unveiled so much? That's curious.
Let's get to this. And this one kind of caught my interest because obviously they look like high rises. What city is this? Does anybody recognize these buildings, these high rises? Is the technology that developed these high rises, did they exist back in the day? We're not exactly sure when these photos or videos were taken, but from the look of it, it does look like it's almost from the early 1900s, maybe 08 to 1915, somewhere in there. That's where I'm guessing.
You know, I might actually take that differently in the way I'm looking at it. It could be from inside the spaceship again, and what we're looking at is the outside panels of something rather than it being on the ground looking up towards the sky.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely, that is a good statement. Maybe it's not even buildings whatsoever. Here's a pyramidal structure. I'm not exactly sure what planet it's on.
And again, the redacted rectangles there. What are they trying to hide?
I like this one. It definitely looks legit. If you were to create a model or a Photoshop imagery of detailing a pyramidal mountain, you know, takes a lot of work. But again, it looks like actual terrain. It looks like a real place.
There is no information on this photo on where it's taken or what moon or what planet.
This to me looks like the Saturn rings, obviously, but what the heck is that?
This one's cool. I like the way this looked. This had some geometry to it. It's
some symmetry, yes.
And it seems to be wanting to be close to the rings of Saturn. What are they trying to collect?
The bizarre characteristics of this really doesn't resemble any kind of craft that I'm aware of that NASA has in its assets. Is this just a figment of one's creative imagination?
Or pencil marks?
Extraterrestrial craft that we're looking at now. The next image looks like, again, another moon and a planet behind that. What planet that is, I'm not exactly sure. It almost seems like it's lit up from below. Luminescent cities down there.
It's looking like Earth to me. Yeah, you have cloud patterns, and I think the ocean below. Hard to tell. It's in black and white, but what is that? I don't believe that's the moon.
That
because
could be
it
the moon.
couldn't be the moon. It's something much smaller, with closer to our Earth.
Here's the next photograph. And again, you can see this really looks like an official NASA photograph. The craft, whatever the craft is to the left, and it's approaching some kind of planet, and you can see some kind of lights around the lower right of this. Is that the moon or is that Earth again? I'm not exactly sure, but
I'd like to know what camera this person who is taking these shots, or
Hi, Roxana.
manual from the capsule itself.
It's the only thing I could think of.
photograph, obviously,
Pretty much the only person who's seen it.
You know, we've seen so much imagery from the lunar surface of
That's third phase of moon. What happened is when they first put, oh, look at this. I can just
here you can see
able to make out what
it has some geometric shapes to it.
third phase of moon. They have their own channel, and what happened is they uploaded this video, and when I realized what it was, I downloaded it very quickly. Then it got taken off their site, and they were threatened to not put it back up.
To this next one, again, right over.
Look at this one.
You see a massive craft, and we've heard
That's
of
the
this
moon.
Space Force.
Watch what happens if I turn it upside down.
What's going on in this photograph isn't unusual. It's probably going on right now. And could you imagine?
I guess we can't turn our phone while we're live.
Over 100 years now. Look at this.
It looks like a battleship that's huge, hovering over the craters of the moon.
Here's the next shot, and I'm not exactly sure what terrain this is, but it seems like this.
Yeah, I can't really tell what all this is. If anything, if it was in color, all of this would look like trees.
Some kind of weird life form, a plant.
It looks organic. The surface looks like it's riddled with roots and shrubbery.
Whatever it is, it definitely is a really clear photograph. From what surface?
So the video looks like it's from the 1940s or 50s, from Voyager.
What's really going on in these photographs and videos? Here's another photograph, and it looks to me like another spaceship, extraterrestrial craft, just hovering over in orbit over a planet. Not exactly sure what planet that is.
Yeah, these are some of these photos that we've seen happen around.
Some of the photos so good that it looks like it could be fake because that's how clear it is.
What related to that, and they do match the quality, but these have a little bit more detail than what we've been seeing from the black night that hovers around Earth.
I don't really see any Photoshop manipulation here. Whatever we're looking at, I believe, is captured with it.
Almost immediately, like a few hours after they posted it.
There really doesn't seem any deception going on.
And then they were not able to re-upload it. They tried several times.
Some kind of craft.
And
it looks like a shuttle.
I tried to upload it and I couldn't for a Facebook video. This is the only way I can show it.
This isn't science fiction, and this is science fact. The history books might need to be changed up real soon. But what do you make of it?
Yeah, it's a nice looking craft. It has angle, it has sharpness, and it has geometry. It's cool on the representation of whatever's happening here. It's compelling to look at. It almost looks like there's 3 pilots in the back, if I'm not mistaken. Do you see that? Almost looks like they're in a craft, and they got their helmets on, their space helmets.
That's interesting. I do see that, but that could be an illusion of maybe the craft itself. I'm thinking
The craft is much larger.
Yeah, I'm thinking the craft is much larger. If those were just 3 heads popping out, that craft is no bigger than a regular SUV, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so I would think it's something bigger than that. But again, there's no reference in size here. But it's a fascinating shot. This one kind of caught my eye because it's like vivid color. You have this spectrum of the hues of yellow and red. This isn't any planet that I'm aware of in our solar system.
Yeah, it almost looked like Pluto, I was going to say, but
Okay, we'll do.
it's hard telling because there is no reference to these photos. And if anybody out there recognizes what this body is, hey, let us know, please.
Absolutely. That's why we're sharing these photographs and videos, because we want to get your opinions below. I'm sure the comments are coming in Fast and Furious right now. Again, another photograph.
Totally, it looks like a secret space force.
Interstellar craft hovering over, looks like Earth, possibly. And then
there's
even got the back photos. Is this some kind of station on the moon? You can see the shadows, some kind of structure. We've got even more photos. Let's roll it. This is incredible. It's
Look at this.
real. It looks like we have some interstellar craft, extraterrestrial origin, that have either crashed on the surface of the moon or landed, and it doesn't look like a good parking. If you ask me, these things look like they crashed into the surface. You got one on the bottom, and then we're panning up to the other one up on top.
Tower.
It just kind of looks like it spiked into the ground.
Yeah, I like this one a lot, but again, it does look like it's almost artistically created with almost a pencil, like a matte painting you would see again in a George Lucas film from the 70s and 80s.
So you think this looks similar to a charcoal type artwork that somebody etched this in through their imagination, and this isn't a photograph? It definitely
could be done.
Has that pencil charcoal, definitely. But you know, some of the vintage.
So this looks like the second time
early
this image has
late 1800s. It definitely
popped up.
Something like this as well. Imagery.
The first time was a really long time ago,
Okay, here's another one,
and they could barely tell what it was, but this is probably when editing started.
What planet is this? Is this Pluto?
They started blacking out the images.
No, I'd imagine another moon. It's not our moon. I can see the symmetry in it isn't quite right. This one has more of awkward angles on it.
It looks like it might be.
Well, we got one more photo left, and here it is. And I kind of
check this shit out
for last, because to me this looks like apparently life.
What the fuck are those?
Some kind of tree of some sort. Trees of the forest, a stick forest, but I don't know, man. This kind of is giving it away for me. That maybe
these are on the planet Europa, the moon of Europa.
Is this some kind of a life form that we're looking at in one of our planets in our solar system here? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, we've been seeing footage from Google Mars, looking down at the red planet.
Caught by Voyager 1.
Kind of like pillars of what looked like trees.
Found on a flash drive
on the surface.
in Europe.
These look pretty
last week.
For whatever they are, if they are even plant life. It could have been put there by somebody as kind of a...
Over 8,000 images were on the drive.
Life form whatsoever, but a beacon of some sort.
Now the guy with the drive is on the run, and the original video has been taken down.
That makes more sense to me. The shadows that are casting off these poles and these figures, do they match up?
So,
see that top left rock? If that's
you're able to save this video,
they're all bending.
save
the
it.
light seems to be hitting the right angles here on this particular photo.
Maybe
we don't know what we're looking at.
I know, maybe it is a legit photograph, and that's why we're sharing it with you right here on Third Phase Moon. Wow, everybody, it's been a wild ride rolling this evidence. Again, leave us your opinions, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more updates. Apparently, they have about 8,000 of these photographs and videos that have yet to be shared, and we're standing by for those. Stay safe, everybody, and keep your eyes on the skies.
Look at that.
Third Phase Moon. We'll see you again next time.
Fighting around Europa, that last one. Here's the problem.
Information's coming in real fast. We've received,
when you start seeing things like this, you immediately start, wow, this is too clear. It gotta be fake. And of course, that was the first thing that came to mind. Gotta be fake. But when the powers that be immediately deleted the video off of Third Phase of Moon, and YouTube threatened to shut them down if they tried to repost it, not to mention it can't be reposted. I tried myself to post it on Facebook and it was immediately blocked. So they're actively and aggressively blocking this video from circulating. Whoever they are.
On the mystery thread, as I don't know where else to post. He says his name is Quizto, and he lives in a small village.
Can't really verify if it's real or not, but I guess the actions of they kind of making it look guilty.
A few hours ago, he didn't take much of it and put it in his pocket. He says there's nothing else in the parking lot, just this silver Toshiba USB.
They were going to finish uploading the videos, and then
symbol carved onto it.
the guy,
Later that day,
he just didn't want to do it no more.
But he says the interesting part.
Or I'm going to end it right here.
Among the unnamed